It's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. I hope everybody's having a lovely, relaxing Sunday. For many people, it's the last day of the holidays before, certainly for me, before we go back to work tomorrow. Those of us who are fortunate to get Christmas and New Year off, particularly those like myself who work in education. But I've been out for my walk this morning and I got back and I don't know, I just wanted to do something a little bit fun. And I always love tags like this where you can have a rummage through your decks, have a think about the prompts, get to show your decks, talk about your decks. And this one is by Candy Soul and Soil, and it's hashtag Dating the Tarot 2020. Information to Candy's channel will be below, and obviously the original tag that Candy did. But yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to make a mug of coffee and just sit down and just relax and do something quite fun to break up the kind of walkthroughs and things that I've been doing. Obviously at this time of year with Christmas and things, many of us get quite a few decks, so I've been doing quite a few walkthroughs and things like that. But today, just something a little bit different. Okay, so let's dive straight in. There are 10 prompts in relation to kind of dates and the type of dates and things like that, and linking that to our relationship with the tarot. So prompt 1 is the cheapskate date. So who did you date because they was as cheap as chips, and what was the outcome? And for me, this is quite a recent one. It's not the cheapest deck that I've bought. I think the cheapest deck that I bought was kind of like, just reaching across, perhaps something like the Everyday Tarot, which is nice. You know, I think this is like $9.99 in most bookshops. But I don't use it that often. But this one, which is the Tarot de Marseille Weight, it's from Amazon. It's from Amazon France, and I didn't pay a lot for this one. They did hike up the price after I got this, and I think that's because, you know, Amazon kind of uses those algorithms, and if there's lots of people buying a certain deck all of a sudden, the price does tend to fluctuate a bit. So I brought this because I saw a couple of people using it. I think it was Mendy who I first saw, the Artistry of Tarot, use this deck. And I love Marseille, but I love RWS, and this uniforms the two systems into one beautifully because it has a consistent art style all the way through. There's my significator card. I love the kind of the sketchy art. It's very, very well done. And yeah, and it doesn't jar using two systems. It is so cohesive all the way through. It's just beautiful. So in terms of, I dated it because it was cheap. I think I paid something like 17, 18 sterling pounds after it was converted from francs, and the postage was, I think, £3, £4, something like that from France. So it really wasn't expensive at all, and the quality of this deck it's wonderful. I absolutely love it. So in terms of what was the outcome, this became one of my favorite decks of 2020. And I got it very late into 2020, but it's absolutely wonderful. I love it, and I keep reaching for it all the time. So yeah. So that's my Cheapskate deck, which turned out to be a very, very precious and valued tarot deck for me. The slow burner, one The one you weren't sure about, but over time you suspect it's turning into love. And everybody went on about this deck, and I relented. And it's the 5-cent tarot. I wasn't sure about it because, as you will see, and you get all these beautiful cloths and bags and everything else with it, I chose for uniformity green backs with green sides. It's very different art style. Madame Clara, it's very sort of fortune teller-ish. It has keywords, but it also has reversal meanings. So we get the lovers, and the keyword is relationship, but we also get commitment, and we get choices, crossroads. But then if we reverse it, we get disharmony, and then we look at the reverse words here, which is self-love, separation, etc. So yeah, and I kind of bought into the hype, and I just wasn't sure, and it was a slow burner when I got it and started working with it, but I'm really enjoying it, and I haven't used it in the last couple of months, but through 2020 I pulled this quite a few times and did some readings with it, and yeah, it's quite nice. I'm really enjoying it. So that is the slow burner. I should open that up properly really, but for time I shall just pop it back in its bag. So the blind date. Now, I don't know if I'm doing this tag right because it's Dating the Tarot 2020, but I hope it's not just decks that you got in 2020. I'm just hoping it's the year that this tag was created, because I'm going way back in some of my decks, but hopefully that's okay. So the blind date. So because you were impulsive and rushing, which I tend to do sometimes with tarot, who did you date without looking or thinking? And for me, it has to be the Japaridze. Now, the reason I came to have this deck is I did a giveaway a few years ago, probably about 3 years ago. And very often when I do giveaways, I will say, you know, you can have a deck of your choice. This is a custom made box. It doesn't come with this. It comes with a bigger box that encompasses a book as well. So it's in a set. And I've trimmed it down. I've trimmed it and edged it in multiple colours that kind of match with the backs. But with this deck, the way I came to possess this deck is that I did this giveaway, and I said, you know, you can have a deck of your choosing. And somebody contacted me and said, I'd like the Japaridze tarot, please. And I wasn't familiar with that deck. And I thought, oh, what's the Japaridze tarot? So I had a look when I went to order it, and I saw a couple of the images, and that was it. And I thought, well, do you know what? I think it was about £30. Isn't that a beautiful card? I will order 2, you know, and I'll see what I think to it. And when it came and I opened it up and did a walkthrough, it was during a couple of catch up in cards live. It brought a lump to my throat and tears to my eyes, and I had a really kind of visceral reaction. Some of the images are just incredible. I mean, the 8 of Winds, which is the 8 of Swords, winds being air. You know, that feeling that she's trapped, she's imprisoned, but look where the key is. You know, there is a way out, which gives us hope, doesn't it? 10 of Winds is beautiful. It looks like I've put this one back in order to do a walkthrough, and I've got 2 copies of this. I've got this trimmed version, and I've got the untrimmed version. So yeah, this deck is just beautiful. So in terms of blind date, you know, I was impulsive. I didn't study it too much. I went out on a whim and I bought it and absolutely love it. So it's just gorgeous. I mean, look at that. 3 of Tides, which is water, which is cups. Just so beautiful. And that's Becca's favourite card. So yeah, so that is the Japaridze Tarot for my blind date category. So number 4 is next, not 5. 4 is the Rebound Date. The one you keep going to break up with, but then is being pulled back together. And I had to really think about this one. It wasn't an easy choice, and probably about 3 or 4 in this tag was really, you know, and that's great because this should make you think. But what I went with is this deck, which is Le Tarot Noir. And I've, where am I? Why is that? It looks like I've pushed this back wrong when I've separated them. Where are they? There we go, it's just from there. This deck, I mean, it's beautiful. It is huge. Gold gilded, really, really stunning. I love the colour palette. It is a huge deck. I mean, if we have a look at it against a standard tarot, you can just see how much taller and wider it is. It's massive. Now, this is my 3rd time of having this deck, and this is why I chose it. So I ordered it, and there was an epic fail because it comes packaged in 2 halves, but both 2 halves were exactly the same. And I did a video about it. I sent it back, but there was no more in stock. It went out of stock. And then the creators contacted me and said, I've got one that's opened. And I was like, great. But what they was going to charge me for it was almost double what I'd originally paid for it. So I was a bit miffed, and it kind of turned me off it a little bit. But then I bought it again, and I found that I didn't use it. I wasn't using it as much as other Marseille decks. And so I traded it. Somebody wanted it, and again, it was out of print. So I traded it, and then, I don't know. You know how sometimes, and this is what this is about, this kind of rebound, the one you keep going to break up with, but it keeps pulling you back together. And again, that's not really my definition of rebound, but that's the prompt. I kept thinking about it, and I missed it. And I realised whenever I watched a walkthrough or somebody speaking about it and showing this deck, just how beautiful the artwork is. And I've seen Kelly Bear as well, and she's trimmed hers down to just the image, so it's smaller and easier to handle. But I think the borders frame this really nicely, and I don't want to lose this beautiful gilding as well. So I'm kind of happy with the size of it now. But the colours are beautiful, these kind of earthy tones. Although this Hanged Man does remind me of the kid from the Mad comics. You'd have to be probably my age to know about Mad, but yeah. Oh, look at Death. Here's our Fool. So it's gorgeous, and I got it again for a 3rd time after I traded it. I missed it so much that I got it again, and I'm not going to break up with it anymore. It's here, and it's staying. Number 5 is the surprise love affair. the one you thought would just be okay, but from the first meeting, it was love at first sight. This isn't going to be a surprise to anybody, but it's the Shimmering Veil tarot. This one is the second edition. And the reason why I thought it was just going to be okay is because I'd received the Days of Creation and I got it in a trade and I did a walkthrough of it, and the creator of this deck and the Days is Scylla Conway, and Scylla contacted me to say how much she enjoyed my walkthrough of Days of Creation, and that she was releasing a tarot deck, which was this one, and could she send it to me? And I was like, yeah, okay. So I didn't know much about it. There was a couple of images, if that. And this one is going to be in order because this is my special copy and it's still in order for when I last did a walkthrough. This isn't the one she sent. The one she sent me was the first edition without the gilding. But, wow. I don't think I've ever had such a reaction to a tarot deck before, like I did with this deck. They are just beautiful, beautiful pieces of art in tarot form, and it stirs you up deep inside with a lot of these images. I mean, look at that for strength. They're masterpieces. This is the Hermit, and Scylla is so lovely. And I class her as a friend. We do chat from time to time. And she also not only gifted me these decks, she had this Hermit card, because she knows how I feel about the Hermit. She had an art print sent to me, which was, I think, A2 in size, that I framed, and it now hangs on my living room wall at the side of my sacred space. And I love it. Look at this castle on top of the hill, and the Hermit is coming down this path and going into his cave, the Hermit's cave. And it is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. This is the Death card. The Devil. And I can't stop talking about this deck. And I have to say, I think this is my favourite tarot deck of 2020. It's incredible. Look at that. And then, which is quite unusual to other tarot decks, is the Fool, which can be 0 or 22, is both. But here we have the innocent Fool, you know, fresh, depicted in this pure white, starting out on a journey, and then the Golden Fool, having completed his journey through the major arcana. And wow. And it works with the elements. So we have air depicted with clouds, but just look at the artwork. So, so beautiful. Just gorgeous. So Shimmering Veil is my surprise love affair, because it came out the blue and I instantly fell in love with it. So prompt number 6 is the Not My Type deck. And I had to think about this, because I don't tend to buy decks that aren't my type. I'm quite eclectic when it comes to tarot, but I know what's not my type, if that makes sense. But the kind of the sub prompt underneath it is, the one you went on thinking it wasn't really my type, but what the hell? So the one that I've come up with for this prompt is the luminous void. And here's why. So when I did my tour around the UK, the first place I went to was Edinburgh, to visit my friend who's become a lovely friend, and that's Elaine. And she said to me, have you seen the luminous void? And I hadn't. So she said, oh, let me go and get it. So she went to her room and she came back and she said, have a look at this. And immediately I was blown away by the beauty of it. I mean, look, just look at these backs. Absolutely gorgeous. The shape is unusual. This was the first time I saw gilding, gold gilding, where it wasn't kind of very metallic. It's kind of a matte gold with these little sparkly flecks in them. And it's really beautiful. But when I had a look at the artwork, I just remember thinking, there's something about this that is appealing to me, but it's not really like anything I've got. It's not what I would say is my type. But the more I sat with it and went through each image, I remember saying to Elaine, wow, this deck is gorgeous. But I didn't buy it immediately because I was, you know, on the first leg of my tour, and obviously you have a limited amount of funds. So I remember saying, well, do you know what? If I don't spend too much on this trip, when I get back, I might order this deck. And I did. As soon as I got back a few weeks later, it's just, and again, this is a deck that divides opinions. Some people just really don't like it. It was, other than the Darkness of Light, which hadn't been released then, it was the first time I'd felt the rose petal that we talk about, that skin feeling. Matte cards, it's got that rubbery kind of rose petal all over. It's just beautiful. And because I'd had some prototype cards of the Darkness, not the Darkness of Light, True Black Tarot, sorry. Because I'd had some prototype cards of the True Black Tarot, I love that devil card. I knew I'd felt these cards before, but this was the first full deck that I ever received that had this rose petal finish. But yeah, there's something about this. It's very primitive. It's quite simple. People have said it looks like a child's done it. I like that. I like that. You know, and if people are doing inner child work, things like that, then, you know, oh, look. It's just gorgeous. So yeah, so this was a not my type, but what the heck, I'm going to go with it because I'm going on my gut feelings about how this is making me feel. So much so that they then brought out, and I ended up trading this for this, I think with Mendy. I think it was Mendy how I traded this was. Yeah, it was. What they called the shuffleable deck. So it is smaller, as you can see. Do it that way so you can see it a little bit better. So it's shorter and narrower, and again it has all the same beauty with the gilding, the backs, but it's easier to handle. And this is kind of a more standard, more standard tarot size. Obviously, because it's oval, you've got it's still a little bit bigger, but people find it easier to use this size. So, and I love it so much. I couldn't be without it now. So yeah, the Luminous Void Tarot is the not my type tarot deck, but what the heck. Let's pop them way. And then we have prompt number 7, the I may have to delete your number date. Oh dear. And this is the one that really didn't work out. But you haven't broken up with it yet. Okay, so I might have to delete your number because it's not working out. But I've got felt tip on me, just noticed. But we haven't broken up yet. And I feel sorry for this deck because I feel like I'm always giving it bad press. And I'm sure you're not surprised, but it's the Fountain Tarot. And this is the indie version. Although, you know, when this became mass market, it was almost identical from what I could tell. I got it in a trade long time ago. And I mean, it's beautiful in terms of its presentation. Not many decks back then had silver gilding either. Some of the cards, I mean, 5 of Pentacles is a card that's very important to me. And that's beautiful. But I don't know what it is about it. It has a cold feeling to it, and that's probably because of the colours and everything else. But, I mean, it just doesn't speak to me as I thought it would. It's quite abstract in a lot of the cards. Maybe, do you know what I should really do with this? Because I haven't got rid of it. It's still here in my collection. And, you know, when I have fallen out of love with decks, I've traded them or I've given them away to people. And I haven't with this. The cardstock is lovely. I mean, some of the cards, I mean, look at that. Isn't it beautiful? But then others, I don't know, it just leaves me a bit cold. It's a bit clinical. It's a bit sterile. But I always think I'm being, and very abstract. I mean, look at that for the Tower. They're all kind of body beautiful as well. And some kind of mind, some feel a little bit toth-ish as well. So this is my I may have to delete your number deck, just because I'm not really feeling it, and it does leave me feeling a little bit cold. But it's popular. It's a really popular deck in the community. Lots of people love it. And that's great, you know, because we're all different, aren't we? We all bring something to the table, you know. When I started the tag ages ago now, my soul deck, because I'd heard mention a couple of times in the community about soul decks, and then I started the tag my soul deck, and I heard people talking about this being their soul deck. I was like, wow. You know, but that just goes to show that, you know, we all see different things and we all put a different value on beauty. You know, what is beautiful to some isn't to others. So, all right, so prompt number 8 is the forever love. So this is the true love. You know what it is. You don't even need me to tell you. It's my blushing fool. 1971 RWS. RWS is my tarot anyway, you know. If we could only ever have one tarot deck, it would have to be the RWS. This you know, the traditional RWS. My dream, and it is a dream, is to one day own the PAME. But until that day, then this version of the RWS is just everything. It never comes across on camera, but the cardstock is beautiful. There is no lamination at all. There is no copyright, as you can see, on any of the cards. It is just beautiful. You see more detail than you would. The line work is clear and clean, and the colours are beautiful and bright. This deck now that we're in 2021 is 50 years of age. It is the same age as I am, and this has been looked after. Yes, some of them are off centre, but that's how they were. If you look at the Pame, this is why it's called the Blush and Fool, because you can see a blush in the fool, which was just the way it was printed. And there were decks, you know, 2 years later, 1973, it comes in the same packaging and everything that isn't a Blush and Fool. And I've got one of them as a backup as well. And there's no difference other than the blush in the Fool, because the cardstock and everything else is just wonderful. But just look how clear and crisp the line work is. I love the blue in this card. So that is my forever love. I can't imagine anything ever taking this deck's place. I want to go to my grave holding this deck to take with me into the next life. I don't ever want to be without it. It's just, it's just everything. Totally in love. And that's always out on my desk in a little drawer just to protect it. Prompt number 9 is the stormy on-off date. The one you can't stay away from. It's about lust and fighting. Now, the reason why I've chose this, again, people know it's a favourite of mine. The reason why I've chose this deck, and it sits just in the drawer, just underneath my Blush and Fool, is the New Choice Tarot de Marseille. The reason why this is the on-off and I can't stay away from it is because no matter what Marseille deck I decide to work with, whether it's the Jean Dodal, whether it's the Jean Noblet, whether it's the Vivial, whether it's the Lily Stone, whatever it is, the Marshmallow Marseille, I end up coming back to this deck. And I'm sorry, you know, I'm being repetitive because I've mentioned the Blush and Fool and this deck so many times, but I can't lie, you know, I've got to be honest and just keep saying why I love them. This is the nicest cardstock I've ever had in tarot deck. It is beautiful. The matte, the feel of them, the noise that they make, it's just wonderful. This is New Choice Tarot de Marseille. Ross Salerno, who's the creator of this deck, is working on a RWS version called the New Voice RWS. So we've got New Choice and New Voice. The colours that he uses in this deck is just so beautiful. The pips, stunning. The use of pinks and purples. It is based on the Berlin underground gay club scene, but you wouldn't know that necessarily if you just pick this deck up to work with it. And lots of the people that are depicted in this deck are lots of his friends that he used as models. That was a terrible way to say what I wanted to say. So he had friends that modelled for this deck, I should say. So they are based on actual people, and is doing exactly the same with the new voice. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It is by far my favourite Marseille deck, hands down. Beautiful flowers, intricate flowers as well, within the minors. Look at that hermit. And if I get to it, the Ace of Coins is the most beautiful Ace of Coins, oh, gorgeous that is, I've ever seen in a tarot deck. But look at the colours. Hark at the sound. I could play with this deck forever. How beautiful. It is now out of print, sadly. I think he only ever made 500. I had to get a backup, so I do have 2 copies of this deck, because if anything happened to one, I would be... And I think it was our B-Jam who managed to get the last deck. He contacted Roz, and Roz says, no, we don't have any left. And then he was able to either find one or, you know, acquire a final one. So he contacted B-Jam and said, I've actually just got one left. So the last deck also went to Nottingham here. So there's 3 copies. Here you go. Just look at the beauty of that. So that is my love affair, the stormy love affair where I can't stay away from it. And yeah, and the reason why is every time I go to work with a Marseille, it doesn't have the same impact as the new choice does. My coffee is getting cold. I'm talking too much. Let me just tidy that a little bit. All right, the final one then is the Friends with Benefits date. Who you can run to without commitment. The one that slots back in like you've never been apart. For me, that's the Druid Craft. And I've got 2 versions, and let me just grab the second version, because I was trying to explain to somebody the other day in a chat. So this one, my friend who I spoke about, Elaine, in Scotland, I'd edged this one all the way down so it was completely naked, which I loved. I had trimmed this one down so that I kept the bottom tile on. And I also had a backup where it was not trimmed at all. And I think Elaine said she regretted doing this. So we traded. She sent me this one, and I sent her the one that wasn't edged. But there is a colour difference, and apparently, because you can buy this in a big set with a large book or in a small compact set with a smaller book. And there's quite a, let's have a look at that one, because I think it's quite evident. It's evident in a lot of the cards, but we'll have a look at the star card. And now I need to find it in here. So, but the reason why this is the one that, you know, I don't have to commit to. Yeah, here we go. But, you know, whenever I pick it up, we're like we've never been apart. It is such a beautiful deck. But look at the colour difference. So I think this is more natural colour, whereas this kind of has like a greeny hue to it. But I do love this, and because this is the one that I've worked with the most with the titles, I really enjoy working with it. So I do tend to grab this one, and it's out on my you know, my little tier system here where I can just grab decks. But I was really surprised at how different the colour tones were, and I'd been used to this. And I mean, you don't need, well, I don't think, if you're quite familiar with RWS, you don't necessarily need the titles on to know that that's the Fool, etc. And even with the, you know, the pips, you can count them and you can see what they are. Let's just find the Four of Wands. Such a gorgeous deck. Even now when I'm looking through it, I'm thinking, I need to work with this today. This is the one I'm going to use tonight to pull my reflection spread. It's gorgeous. It's going to be near the end, isn't it? Because that's typical. Look at that for the Devil card. Canunos. There we are. So in some cards, it's not as noticeable like here. You can't really tell much of a difference, but in others you can. But you would know this is the Four of Wands because it's very RWS with the canopy kind of style card. So yeah, my Friends with Benefits is the Druid Craft, the one that I can run to without commitment. But when I do pick it up, it's like we've never been apart. So there you are, guys. That is the hashtag Date in the Tarot 2020. And it was created by Candy, Soul and Soil. So do check out Candy and her original tag and her channel. She's lovely. She's got she oozes energy and she's such a vibrant soul. So do check her out. And thank you for watching. I've really enjoyed. I've not done one for a while. I might set this as a premiere and chat with you in it and talk about each of the decks so we can have, you know, continue the conversation. Just not my camera stand there. Sorry if I made you all dizzy. So thank you for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.